everyone to AMG Entertainment Network Conversations. My name is Bruce Glasgow. I'm the host of the show, and I'd like to let you know that this show is sponsored by BNS Designs Digital Marketing for all your marketing needs. And joining us on our show today is the legendary actor, Mr. Michael J. White. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm good, yourself?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. And now that I've got the technical difficulties working out, I'm doing even better.
Ooh, ooh.
So, for those of you, for those of our audience who may not know you, I mean, you probably hadn't either watched TV or seen any movies in the last, 30 years. They don't know who you are. Would you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
I'm Michael J. White. Um, you know, actor, writer, director, all that stuff.
Fabulous, and I apologize because I said Jay and it's Jai, and I
That's
do
okay. A lot of people
apologize.
make that. Yeah,
I do
yeah.
apologize for that,
That's okay.
but you know, it all started with me with, in my eyes, since I love Batman so much and I love superheroes, see, to me, it's always Spawn. It's like
Mm.
that just always comes in my head. And
Oh,
then and then you were in some Batman movies, so that was like doubly bonus.
mm. Yeah, yeah. Dark Knight. That was
Yeah,
yeah.
which was, I love movies, so I've been watching you for a long time. In
Appreciate it.
fact, I was watching you on TV before I even saw you in the movies, because
Really?
there's very few things that you were on, and I was looking. You got impressive IMDb. Very few things that you were on that I didn't watch.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I never thought NYPD Blue would end. I was just like, when it ended, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I guess all good things
Mm.
must come to an end. But I was like, I thought that show would last forever.
Yeah, like those others like Law and Order. Those.
Right. And they're
Yeah.
still going, and they've spun off into so many different,
Mhm.
segments of the same thing, like CSI is doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm sure you probably, if I didn't miss it, yeah, of course, there you are, CSI Miami. Okay, I was going to say, bet you've been on a few of those as well.
Yeah. A few of them. Yeah. A while back.
That's fantastic. Um, so let me ask you a question. You've been in so many TV shows and so many movies and so many iconic movies that they've actually made series out of. Um, what role do you that you've had throughout the years that you just really felt like it really like brought out the best of your acting abilities?
Well, I guess that would, well, there was one role that really did that, but it was a short lived series called Wonderland. And I played a doctor. And it was the first time I got a chance to play myself. A lot of actors have the luxury of playing who, kind of close to who they really are, but I really never got that chance. So that was my favorite role. Um, you know, until maybe I guess I got a chance to do a role that I created, Black Dynamite. So that was a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, yeah, I don't often get a chance to play, myself.
Right. And then, so many people, and I've talked to quite a few people that are in the film business, and a lot of them get so typecast into themselves, and so every once in a while they'll get that stretch. They'll get offered that role that's like completely different from what they've played for years.
Yeah, I think the majority is that's kind of an accepted thing. Usually, like I say, usually people are playing themselves. Like when most actors that you see are playing pretty much a version of themselves, and they're comfortable with that, and they're known for that. There's a certain, I guess, market that they kind of encompass. Uh, it's kind of like the old school actors. It was kind of a narrative of old school actors to be to play different characters altogether. You know, nowadays people want to play different characters, but they're playing themselves playing the different characters. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I feel like the old days, like say Al Pacino, the Scarface Al Pacino and the Dog Day Afternoon Al Pacino and the Godfather Al Pacino are like three different human beings. But that's not common these days.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was talking to an actor, and he said that James Earl Jones had on set, had put his hand on his shoulder and told him, never turn down a job. And that is what allowed him to go on and pursue exactly what you're talking about, playing different characters, whether it be in a big production or an independent film or whatever, but to be able to grow as an actor and grow in their craft by playing different roles and not getting into the being yourself as that certain different character in that different part in that different production.
Yeah, when it comes down to, they're different actors. There are the chameleon actors, and there's actors who basically play themselves. Not one of them's not better than the other. I
Right.
mean, there's some people that play themselves, like like Jack Nicholson. He's just an amazingly interesting human being. So every character he plays is an amazingly interesting human being. So that's not a bad thing. You see Robert De Niro playing different characters, but still, without looking at him, it sounds like Robert De Niro. You know that there's certain you know things because he's an amazingly interesting person. So, but so it's not a bad thing. Christopher Walken, same thing. It's not like Christopher Walken is playing something like drastically different. He's
Right.
just interesting. You can't take your eyes off of the guy as Christopher Walken. So, like I said, there's just different type of actors. You got Johnny Depp. He can play damn near. There's a lot of people that can play damn near anything.
Right. Yeah, he's all over the place.
Really know, huh?
He's kind of all over the place. He can
Yeah.
just.
So there's different schools of thought.
So where do you feel like you fall in?
I'm kind of an odd hybrid because even my best friends, people have known me for a long time. It's hard to describe me. I'm kind of like, I can play a tough guy, but I don't, I may not look like the regular guy who plays tough guys. Like I look like, is he collegiate? Is he from the hood? Is he from the the suburbs? I kind of and I could, I'm kind of a hybrid, right? So sometimes it's a little difficult to say, okay, where does he sit? Because like I usually pick a character and go that direction. Um, but like I said, a few times where I got to play myself, which is a character that's kind of, I don't know, central to a lot of different. It's not one specific thing. Like even the way I sound, you go, is he New York? Is he whatever? I may play a character that is New York or play a character that's LA or whatever. But my actual sound is kind of hard to determine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm a hybrid character. You just kind of go, well, I don't know where that guy's from. And a lot of times in movies, you need to know where that guy's from. You know what I mean? You want to be able to peg him immediately. And so there are characters like when I play when I play the doctor, my natural capabilities kind of came with it because, it was a character that, I could define just by being me. So it's a little tricky, especially being a black character. A lot of time there's they're specific, they're defined specifically in a lot of situations, you know. Um, so yeah, it gets a little gets a little convoluted. But yeah,
But
I'm kind of a hybrid character.
well, that's not necessarily a bad thing because you can fit in a lot of places being that
Right.
hybrid character.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, you don't see people don't see you immediately and say that's he's this. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you know. Um, that's why it works for me doing lead roles. It works because usually the lead characters have to have elements of several other characters.
Gotcha. Well, so that there again, that's exactly why, why I said that would work out well because you're exactly right. They have to be usually the leads. Either it's somebody that they've kind of almost when they got the screenplay, they said this is written for this actor that always
Mhm.
plays himself, right? Like you mentioned Nicholson, there's certain roles that just like, wow, that's a Nicholson role. That would be the perfect role for him. But
Mhm.
then for the most part, it's they're looking for someone that can play that lead character in the screenplay.
Mhm.
It's not written for a specific person, so to speak.
Yeah.
So there again, that's where I think that the advantage comes in for you because you can kind of step in as that hybrid character and take on whatever you need to take on.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, that's what I try to be. Like, they say, "Oh, this is a Denzel type of character." Well, I'm a little threatening, like, little physical looking to, you know, a more physical presence, or is it a different? Like, it's kind of I don't know. I had somebody jokingly call me Denzel Van Schwarzenegger one time. Which was that's hilarious, but it's like kind of touching on the hybrids because it's the martial art thing, it's the eating male actor thing, and then it's the physical thing. So
Right?
so Denzel Van Schwarzenegger was kind of it's kind of funny and apropos.
Yeah, but it's kind of a compliment because you smash all that together. That's a heck of a character.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very diverse.
Hmm.
So you talked about that as being a black actor that they kind of put this label or this restriction on what they're looking for in an African
Yeah,
American actor.
yeah, yeah. A lot of times it is that, but if you notice, I tend to play characters that it doesn't matter what race they are. Like if you see me in Falcon Rising, um, the Hard Way, Spawn, just most of the characters I play could have been played by a white guy. Really doesn't matter. It's about the leading character's characteristics. So yeah, so I kind of play colorless characters. But when a character is defined as a black person, or this guy's name Malik, or whatever that is, a lot of times there's an assigned image to that character that the people are looking to cast. So yeah, so that's usually like kind of defined a bit. And for me, I have to go into a character to play that. I mean, I may recognize that character, but they tend to want to cast somebody who is that. So there's no acting in a way, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's do you feel that, because I've been watching movies ever since I can remember. And that this is back at the drive-ins. Our parents always took us to the drive-in movies, and watching old westerns and old musicals and old just you name it, every kind of imaginable movie at the drive-ins. And do do you feel that it's getting more like that in Hollywood, or it got to that point where it was like, okay, let's take that easy road and we've got these characters, and now we have this idea of what we want them to look like. And so it's not so much the acting ability as the person that fits the look of the role, so that the acting kind of almost took a back seat to the visual effect of the actor being on the presence on the screen.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I always say, how many times do you see an actor play against his physicality? A lot of it is visual nowadays, uh, and because like it's just easier. And a lot of times, casting, when in the casting process, people want to say, "Yeah, I knew he was right when he walked in," because usually it's somebody that they want that character to be 24/7 that guy all the time. Um, one of the a big lesson to me was something that happened in connection to my breakout role, which was of playing Mike Tyson. That was my first significant role that I booked, and I almost lost that role. It was a big deal. It was like a lot of the directors and the people. It was HBO and the film division and the sports division. They both were very tight on figuring trying to pick the right person. Well, the director was pulling for me, and I showed the director a film that I shot. I shot it, I produced it, directed it, edited it, did everything. Well, when it was coming down to some of the final auditions, they flew people in all over the place, and most of the guys were in and out within 5 minutes. Well, I go there, I do the audition, they really like it, they want me to do more, they start talking to me, and then up comes the subject that the director starts talking about this film that I directed that he really liked. Now I'm in there talking to these guys for 30 minutes. Now I figured, hey, I'm a shoo-in. They talked to me for a half an hour, and I was the last person that they saw. I get home, and the casting director calls me and says, they're going to keep looking. I said, well, I didn't get it. They said, no. They said, if this ever goes any further, Mike, promise me you won't talk. I said, what do you mean? They said, they freaked out. After you left, they said, there's no way this kid could play Mike Tyson. He's far too intelligent. That's what they said.
Wow.
Forgetting the fact that the only reason they were talking to me is because they liked my performance. And then they wanted to get to really know me. And they felt like, oh, I was college educated and everything else. And I was, directing and writing and all this type of stuff, far from who Mike Tyson really is. That was like a big wake-up call to me. I almost lost the role. They had to, the director had to fight to get me back in for the next round of auditions. And so whenever I would go back in, I wouldn't say a word. I would behave as if I were Tyson from the time I get there to the time I left. And that's what it took, because people, instead of figuring, oh, we're going to cast an actor who can encompass the role, but yet you can talk to him as an intelligent, peer. They didn't want that. They wanted somebody to come in there and be Mike Tyson, and that's it. So that was a big lesson to me of the assigned images that they want. So that's a long-winded way, a very personal way of me telling you, yeah, I agree. A lot of people want the character. They want to see, they don't want to trust an actor They want somebody to be that character, and that's it.
Do you see that getting any better? Because it seems like, or at least what I've been hearing, because I don't go to auditions, so I'm not an actor. I'm more involved behind the scenes in some film stuff. Um, does it seem like it's kind of making a turn to where it's getting more towards the actor? Or you think it's still kind of heading back down that road? Like, I'm looking for the person that looks the part, acts the part, who is that part.
Yeah, to me, it's not any different. It's like if somebody's known for a specific part, they get cast for that. I mean, it's just been more galvanized. There's still actors who can make you forget who they are, and they're different from role to role, but it's still by and far the majority. I mean, once it's the director yells cut, the actor and the character are pretty darn similar. Yeah, it's usually. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's a really bad thing. It's just I just think there's the expectation, and the writing has not demanded very much of people lately anyway.
Yeah, I've noticed that myself. It just seems to be kind of almost going through the motions, and if they can just get the right people for the right draw that look exactly like what they want them to look like and be that thing that they envisioned, and then they just kind of put it out there. It's not a
Yeah, a large part of it is the physicality. I
yeah.
mean, honestly, I don't really see very many times where somebody is playing something that is contrary to what they look like. Like I think about Henry Fonda and Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
Like that guy who played nothing but heroes and squeaky clean characters, played one of the best bad guys ever. Like that kind of acting where, man, here you go. He plays against the type. Usually, people play the type that they are, or the type that they look like.
Right. Well, that's the movies that I love the most, is when it's an actor that plays against the type, and it's like, wow, that was so believable. That's acting to me.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful acting, because to play against your image, that's playing uphill.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as a lot of these seasoned people that you mentioned, as well as yourself, you're able to do that. You're able to play against your type.
Well, thank you. Whatever that type is, because it's kind of, I'm like that hybrid thing. So, it's because it's hard for people to peg who you really are when you look like you could be from the suburbs and the hood. So I'm kind of like in that middle ground.
I got you.
Yeah.
But it just still goes back to the art of acting, and I think that that's such a lost art, and it doesn't seem to be that they're like really kind of pushing in that direction to get it back to the actual acting.
Yeah, I kind of missed seeing that, where somebody. I mean, that's one of the great things. I'm glad it started with theater, because that starting with encompassing in a whole character, that's an amazing journey. And I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see more of that, or see that being celebrated a bit more.
I'm with you. I mean, that's where I started. I started out in middle school and high school in drama and stage, and you had to learn the character and project that character. Then it wasn't. They didn't. It was pick from the class, right? Now, I didn't pursue it after that, but I know a lot of actors that I've talked to that do theater, that's what they love about it. That it's not so typecast, it's more learn the role, learn the character, immerse yourself in that character and become that and make that presence on stage.
Right. Yeah.
Which they still have, thank goodness, and hopefully it'll open back up to where, we'll have
Yeah.
more of that.
Yeah. I would love to get back to theater. Yeah, I haven't done it in a while. It was very comfortable for me. That's probably my most comfortable, um, platform. I think.
I loved it, and I've done some, like I said, behind the scenes film stuff, but you get so many takes to get it however you want to get it. It's not even as bad as it was back in the day, because now it's all digital. So all they do is just go right over it again. It doesn't matter. They're not wasting film. You are wasting time, but and people are getting paid. But with theater, it was like there were those little nuances. There were those little things that happened and you just kept going. That's kind of like where the show must go on kind of comes from, is theater.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff happens and it's unexpected, but you just pick yourself up and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about theater. It's not, you don't get take two.
And the immediate connection with the audience that's the best thing about it to me. You don't wait until a movie's cut together to see how people respond to it. It's kind of call and response. It's pretty it's a pretty cool feeling.
Right. Well, I just keep staring at that poster because I'm a big Adult Swim fan. I still watch it to this day. It's one of those things that I'm in bed at night and it's like Adult Swim's always got something interesting and new, So the Black Dynamite was great, by the way. That was just a great, a great creation. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're going to be doing it again.
Really?
Looks like it, yeah.
Oh, yes. Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I and you're gonna be the one that's gonna be writing it, doing the voice.
Written, yeah, we're putting everything together now.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That's the only really Hollywood experience I have is voiceover stuff. I've done some voiceover and some animated stuff. That's really the only thing I've done, because I can do several different voices. So I love that, and I love animation, and I love watching the way that people bring those characters that they're not really playing to life through their voice.
Yeah.
It's always interested me.
Yeah, it's a great art form.
It really is.
Yeah.
So kudos on that, and man, I can't wait. I'm going to be looking for that one to come out.
Thank you.
So it looks like you've got a lot of stuff. I guess, Hollywood in general is got a lot of stuff that's post-production right now. It seems to be the word of the day where movies are concerned. I guess they're holding them back or holding them off or trying to get it to where, hey, when we do release, we don't have to release on Netflix, even though some of those things have done very well. They can release in theaters, because I love the theater experience. Not that it's bad to have my own popcorn sitting in my shorts, and I can pause it on Netflix, but I like the theater experience, kind of like going to a live show.
Yeah. I'm looking forward for that coming back.
Myself. So you've got several things that are in post-production. Is there any one that really stands out, like, hey man, you guys don't want to miss this?
Well, I'm looking forward to Outlaw Johnny Black, which is in the same world as Black Dynamite. I've got a movie coming out with. We got two movies coming out with Mickey Rourke, actually. One, my wife is the lead in the movie, and it's called Take Back. So that'll be coming out soon, and we're doing a lot of press for that. So that's something to look out for.
It'd be good to
Yeah,
see
my
Mickey
wife
Rourke.
yeah, my wife is basically doing like a martial arts action film, and she's the first black martial arts action, star, but a female black martial arts star.
That'll be cool.
Yeah,
That's called Take Back.
yeah,
It's the first one on completed, ready to ready to roll. In
yeah.
fact, it's the only one on completed, ready to roll. Everything else is still says post production or pre. You got a couple, two pre's. So good. So we're looking for. I need to look for Take Back, and I need to look for. You said it's the Outlaw Johnny Black.
Yeah, yeah,
Outlaw Johnny Black.
yeah. It's not sure when we're releasing that, but Take Back is definitely coming out. And another movie that I'm a supporting character in, it's comes out in another week, I believe, and that's called Assault. No, it's coming out April 2nd. Assault on VA 33. That's with Sean Patrick. Oh my God, what I blank on his name? Sean Patrick Flannery. Because there's a couple of different Sean Patricks, and I almost went the wrong direction.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's that one about?
That's about it's man, I did it a while ago. it's a I was about to say it's about an assault on a VA hospital 33. Yeah, it's these bad guys are it's kind of like Die Hard in a VA hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's gonna be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You got a bunch of that's definitely not an office building. That's you got a bunch of soldiers in there.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna be looking for that one too then, because I'm very interested in fact I was fixing to take a class online on active shooter, just to see what all's involved in that. It's one of these, emergency classes. It's like online learning seems to be a huge deal right now. So been taking some John Hopkins courses and all kinds of stuff, and just keeping the brain working.
Yeah.
But that sounds extremely interesting. I would just there's gonna be some heroes you don't expect pop up in that one, I imagine.
Well, it's really the main guys. Sean Patrick Flannery. He's doing great stuff lately. I saw a really good movie that he just recently did. Why am I blank? I swear I'm blanking on these names. Heart of a Champion, I think it's called. Oh, it's a really great movie. I hate it if I butchered the name, but I believe it's The Heart of a Champion.
Something like that.
Yeah, really great movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to get back to the movies, because I've about Netflixed out and Amazon Primed out. It's like I'm going back and watching stuff that I love just because it's like, wow, I haven't seen that in 25 years. Let me go back and watch that. I remember liking it back then. I'll probably like it now. And some of them have been disappointments. Some of them have been like, yeah, that was as good as I remember it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, well, cool. That's thank you for the little, heads up, because I'm definitely going to be watching for the Outlaw Johnny Black, because just like I said, I love the whole Black Dynamite character and just the whole fun that it has with it. And so, if it's kind of like a movie take on that, that's going to be, I'm just going to be like a kid in a candy store.
Thanks. Hope you enjoy it. I think you will.
I bet I will, because I know I love Black Dynamite. When they'll roll one through like on on a rerun or something in the like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not asleep, and it'll pop up. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that's cool. I remember when it came on the first time, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great creation, by the way. That's, I mean, writing that's awesome.
Thank you.
Kind of reminds me of now see, now I'm gonna draw a blank. Kind of reminded me of like a take on oh gosh, it's a 70s movie. It just went right out of my head. Oh
Shadow,
well.
Superfly,
Superfly, something like that. Yeah, it was one of those that it reminds me of.
Dynamite. That
Dolomite, that's a old one.
hmm.
But it's like the animated version, so it's just it's a cool character. It's just it looks like you had a lot of fun with it. I bet you had a lot of fun writing it. So we've talked about what's coming out. Let me ask you a question. You've worked in so many things, and with not, and not to discount your acting ability whatsoever, you've worked with a lot of really good actors as well, actors and actresses. And is there any one like piece of advice that you got from an actor and actress that just really, you take with you and you carry?
Not a piece of advice. There's just certain uh, impressions that certain actors have given me, or certain ways that I've, kind of that certain actors who've inspired me to be more like them. So and the number one person that comes to mind is Martin Sheen. Um, Martin Sheen to me was one of the, I mean, he's one of the greatest human beings I've met. Much less just an actor. He's just an incredible person. Just one of the most honest, down to earth, very giving and transparent people I've ever met. Uh, just the way the man was, like, and when I did Spawn with him, this guy knew everybody's name. I don't care if it was the guy dumping the garbage, he knew him by his name. Uh, and that was inspirational to me, because a man who has been around that long and achieved what he has achieved, that he treated every human being that he crossed with total respect, and could talk to the the guy sweeping up and know what's going on with him. And it's not a TV show where all the people that are working there because you've been going there for years. No, this is a movie. You're only going to be there a few weeks, and this guy knew everybody's name. I never forgot that. I don't know anybody who treats human beings the way I've seen Martin Sheen treat people. So that guy's been an inspiration to me in a lot of ways.
Well, that says a lot about his character,
Yeah.
that everyone that is a part of this machine that we call the film industry, everyone plays a part and everyone's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And I've never, I would never look down on anybody who, I don't care what they do. That's something that has impressed me and just taught me that lesson. To treat everybody with utmost respect.
I'd love to get him on the show. Talk to his brother Joe. Had his brother Joe Estevez on, and he's that kind of guy too. So it must be something in the family, when the way they were brought up, that that it's just he's just exactly like that. He was just, I mean, he knows all the stuff, and he treats everybody exactly the same. Treats them like human beings, and with the respect they deserve until they prove otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's somebody that you've gotten a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say advice, because that's the word I used to begin with, but somebody that you like to model yourself after. How about, is there Hollywood, I know since I'm part of the Houston film industry meetup, and there's like 8,000 of us here in Houston, and Houston is not super friendly to the film industry except for commercials. So a lot of the people that I know, when they go to make their way, they'll go off to Atlanta, or they'll go off to New Mexico or Arizona, or Hollywood to pursue their careers. Um, what would be the piece of wisdom that you would like to impart on somebody that's embarking on the journey of becoming an actor?
Well, I always encourage people to not only learn. You want to be an actor, don't just learn the acting part. Learn the other stuff. Learn writing. Learn directing. So you'll know why people would be hiring you, and learn writing so you know why the writer wrote these words instead of other words. So respect the text. Um, it'll only help you. Uh, if people if you know why your character is there, and that character exists to balance off things from other characters, you'll understand how to play your character the best. If you know the purpose of the character. You know, um, so yeah, and I say learn the business because it's called show business for a reason. So it doesn't necessarily reward talent. It rewards a lot of heat, right? So you know, get the talent and you build the heat, and then just keep on going. But yeah, I would encourage people to learn all the entire spectrum.
Great advice. I think that I've heard that from one other person, and when you know all those moving parts, it only just makes you better at what you do because you understand what they're looking for, why the angles are the way they are, why the lights are the way they are, why the sound is coming from where it's at, why this shot and this shot is shot from these three angles. And you learn a lot of what's behind that. Just makes you a better presence in front of the lens.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's fabulous advice. So I won't keep you long. I know that you had something that you had to press on to here at the top of the hour. So I really again want to thank you, Michael, for taking out time out of your busy schedule, and it is a very busy schedule. I can see that, for to join us on Conversations. Really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right.
I had a blast, and it's so nice to virtually meet you, and hopefully one day I'll be able to meet you in person. Have much mad respect for your abilities, and I mean, ever since I saw you play Mike Tyson, I was just like, wow, they couldn't have picked a better guy. I mean, you were him. I mean, when I was watching, I was just like, how'd they do that?
Well, thank you.
There wasn't a bunch of CG going on back then. They do that.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
So it was very believable, and it's just been up, onward and upward since then. So thank you so much for what you've given this fan for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope to continue to do that.
Absolutely.